Have you ever been curious about introducing or making better your high ticket offers? So, what is a high ticket offer? A high ticket offer is an offer that starts at least at 5K and goes all the way up to 25K. And for some people, even 100K, that allows you to make a massive impact in your client's life quickly with accelerated results while boosting your profits at the same time. Hey, it's Melanie here. And I've had a lot of questions coming in about how do you sell or even attract clients to a high ticket offer. And I work a lot with my clients in the Ignite Mastermind and VIP clients to help them introduce a high ticket offer that sells. And my clients love it because they start getting big ticket clients coming in very quickly. And that can actually boost your revenue like 2 times, 5 times. For some people, it's 10xing the revenue. So this is a really, really powerful strategy. And I want to just bring in, as we're doing this live today, we're in a unique economic time. A lot of people are like, Melanie, like, I can't get anybody to buy anything. Like, why should I do a high ticket offer right now? In economically diverse times, we'll call it diverse, what tends to sell best are premium offers and low ticket offers. And so you got to sell a lot of low ticket offers to make your revenue numbers. So that's why many people really like to bring in high ticket offers, because you only need to sell one of them to probably blow your revenue goals out of the water. So I want to answer some of the questions that have come in lately. So I did a post here and asked you what your big questions were, as well as some of the podcasts that I've done. People ask questions. I thought, okay, it's time to tackle this. And first of all, like one of the questions is like, why should I introduce high ticket offers when I'm having such a hard time selling my normal offers? So first of all, I get it. A lot of people are struggling with it. Like our last launch didn't do what I thought it would do. It's a sign of the times. It's not necessarily reflective of the value of what you do. So here's why. In any economy, there are always people who have more financial resources that are willing to speed up results to get better results. And some people are willing to pay premium to get access to you, especially if you're considered an authority or an influencer in your space. So I think it's worth always keeping a high ticket offer in your hip pocket or in your offering suite, because there are people that's what's going to move the needle for them. I have people who work with me and they would never consider doing an on-demand program. They're never going to consider doing a group program because that's not their personality. That's not how they best consume, and it's not how they best integrate, but they will spend more money to work with me privately because they know they're going to get faster, more customized clarity, strategy, and results. So that is the biggest reason. And now that leads me to the second question. So how do we decide how to price it? So I was asked this question actually on an interview I was doing recently. And they said, so we see you put a lot of content out about high ticket offerings. Like, how does one decide how to price it and package it? So for those of you that new, you might not know, I did a retreat earlier this year. And I find that what this one thing that I taught in the retreat is priceless. As a matter of fact, if you want access to it, just say, yeah, I want access to it. It's available for a very reasonable financial fee. I think it's like $97 or something like that. And what it is it's learning how to take the value you deliver to a client and position it in your messaging and in the way you deliver results so that your ideal client can quickly get that result. And when you do a good job of this, what you're going to find is that it's easier to sell this than anything else you do, even though it's the most high price point thing that you have. Here's an example. I'll give you a couple examples. So many years ago, I was working with a woman, and she was an accountant, and she sells tax planning and tax. She does taxes, as well as she does like accounting for her clients. And well, as we were looking at how to help streamline her offerings so she could have more bang for her buck and work less in her business, we decided to really lean into her high ticket offer. And she would sell them somewhere between 2 and 15K, depending on the scope of work the client had. And here's what she found is, at first she really struggled with how to sell them. And then I said, well, let's just do one thing. How much money does this save your ideal client? She's like, starting at 50K, maybe up into 200K. Like, that's your positioning. When you invest, let's say it was 5K, I'm going to show you how to save 50K in your taxes. Who doesn't want that, right? For the ideal client, that was a godsend, because they were focused on, we've got too big of a tax bill. How do we reduce our tax bill? So I just said two things that are really important there and how to make this work. Number one, you need to know the value proposition of what you sell. And two, you need to know who it's best for, because not everybody is your ideal client for these packages. And when you put those two together, it's much easier to price and package. So I promise you two examples. Here's the second one. The second example is, if you, so I had a client who was kind of in the middle of the road in his, what he charged for the work that he does, but he wanted to like double or triple his revenue without working more hours. It's a common request that comes my way. So one of the things we did was we looked at what is the average value of delivering his offering to a client. So he's a benefit auctioneer, and on average, when he works with a client, he's bringing them somewhere between 50 to 300,000 in new revenue into the door from the fundraising. So I'm like, okay, so he was charging way too little for that. We doubled his rate. And I said, who wouldn't invest 10,000 to make 50,000 or 300,000, right? That's an ROI. That's what you sell. So when you're developing these high ticket offerings, the idea is to really look at, what is it worth to your client? Like, what is the return on investment? What is the cost of keeping the problem? These are all questions that I took people through in that workshop, that when you answer these questions, it will start to show you exactly how to price and package your offering. Now, regarding packaging, you really need to understand how your ideal clients operate. Some people want, hey, I want it all at once. I just want to go deep dive and really get into the muck with you. And so they're looking for something more like a VIP day, which is a really solid offer. Other people are like, I just want to work with you one-on-one. And could we do a package for 6 months? Some people want more done for you. So you just really need to know, how does your ideal client like to consume and implement? And that's a clue to how you design it. Now, we had another question come in. What is the number one strategy to win over lucrative, high-paying clients? So I don't think there is one way, but I will tell you a solid strategy that I find that works not just for me, but for all of my clients as well. And that is, and this ties into the magnetic messaging that I teach and get, being a guest expert on other people's stages. You need to be out in front of your ideal audience, sharing your message in a compelling way, so that they're experiencing you as an authority and are going to raise their hand and say, how do I work with you? So here's how some of my high ticket clients have found me. And usually choose to invest in working with me within 2 days of our consultation, if not immediately. So the first one of them heard me on a podcast and was so like, oh my God, she's talking to me. I was doing a talk on mindset, and he was like, so you're like, you nailed everything I'm dealing with. Went and binged my podcast, which is key, because the podcast acted like a nurture sequence to warm up the relationship and kind of educate him on who I am and how I show up in the world. So that was one strategy. Another one is a woman heard me speak at an event. She literally waited on the side after I talked to people after my talk, going through the long line of people who want to meet you afterwards. And she said, with tears in her eyes, I need to hire you. She'd already decided she was hiring me before I got off the stage. And that's the power of a talk that's really speaking to the pain and the desire of your ideal clients, like really like bonding with them in that messaging is going to move the needle every time. The third thing that works is I have a lot of people who listen to my podcast. They find me wherever, right? They get a referral. They come in through a partner. Somebody refers my client magnet, my lead magnet. Somebody else might actually, hear me as a guest, but they're on my list. They're checking me out. They join us here in Amplify Your Authority. Ultimately, they're like, is Melanie the real deal? If you've gone through my guest expert system, there's 5 types of leads, and each of those types of leads are going to buy very differently. And this is what I call the long lead. So they're there, they're hanging about, and something that I share in an email or in a podcast triggers them. And they're like, yeah, it's time. I need to work with her. Just had this happen recently where somebody had been in this group who been listening to my podcast for at least 2 years. Finally said, it's time. I don't even work with coaches, but I know I need to work with you. And he booked a VIP package with me. So that's where I think most of us are kind of like maybe leaving money on the table. We've got dormant leads. We're not actually engaging because we don't have any kind of process to attract them, the leads, the people that are out there struggling with the problem we solve. And they don't know that we have these premium offerings that are probably a better fit for them. He told me straight out, I'm not a mastermind person. I don't do on-demand trainings. I want to work with somebody one-on-one. I'm like, okay. And he was willing to make the investment because he knew there was a payoff. So have your client journey sorted out. Have a magnetic message that's not for everybody, but you're really speaking to those higher profile clients who are struggling with something you are uniquely qualified to solve. And you need to have a client journey that nurtures them, that bonds with them, that showcases your expertise, that consistently demonstrates your authority. And then eventually they find a way to raise their hand and say, how do I work with you? And then you need to make sure you have a consultation or a way to start that process with you that's easy for them to follow. And that's how you move great potential clients into becoming premium clients. Now, the last thing is you need to have some thought out packages. Like, do you have a package that you can offer to these clients? So I keep 3 types of offers, and depending on what my potential client needs, I will make a suggestion. I will give them a proposal, and then we decide from that what it is that we're going to work together. But I basically have standard packages. I have a 1-day intensive, I have a 6-month immersive, and then I have like a quick start package, which is a very short session with a couple of bumpers on either side just to help people integrate. And that works. And I have even a page on my website that explains the type of VIP type things we could work on. We can design your high ticket offer. We can design and launch a podcast. We can, or whatever authority platform you want. I can help you solve a place where your cash flow is stuck. We can design a strategy to double or triple or 10x your revenue over the next 90 to 120 days. So there are things that I standard do. Can standard implement? Whatever the right language is, get the point. And having some kind of concept for people to keep in mind is helpful. So if you have other questions about how to design, launch, and attract great clients into your offers, bring it. I drop them in the chat. You put them in the comments below. And if you've been thinking about it, I will just tell you that I have very limited VIP spots that are open over the summer, but I do have 1, possibly 2. If you're considering like, hey, I'd love to introduce a high ticket offer, let's chat. Let's see if working together is going to help you go from, feeling kind of conflicted or confused or not knowing what to do, and end up with having a way to create a high ticket offer that sells itself, and learn how to build that path between attracting the client and getting them to raise their hand and say, hey, how do I work with you? So happy to meet with you and chat and see if that's a fit for you right now. So if you've got a high ticket offer, give a little shout out in the comment and say, yes, I do. Here's how it works for me. This is the type of client it attracts. Let us know what's working for you. All right. I'll be back next week with another tip. I'm going to be reviewing some more of the Magnetize Your Message challenge and mini course participants. Your questions that are coming up, I'll be continuing to give you some feedback on them and bringing some new topics along the way. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. And I can't wait to hear about your high ticket offers.